Welcome to Talking Roadmaps. Today with one of our special editions where we're talking about the Product World Conference. Today I'm joined by Gordon. Gordon, tell us all about yourself.
I'm Gordon, and I'm a UX designer. I've been working in the last 6.5 years building my own kind of boutique agency. And what's special about us is that we have a niche where we focus on designing professional apps. So this is the space I've been working on, very focused in the last 6 to 7 years.
Love it. And yeah, saying you're a UX designer, but the fact you run an agency, like it's underplaying what you are, I think. So, you're the founder of a UX agency and you come from a UX background. I love it. In your talk at Product World, what problem are you going to talk about and help people address?
Well, I'm going to be talking about the challenges of designing white label software, which is one of the hardest things to design if you want to design it to be good and to have good performance. And not just designing white label software itself, but actually designing the sales process and let's say the demo that is supposed to sell this white label software to a vendor that will in the end resell this as their own product. So this, from my experience, is a totally different ballgame and something that I didn't expect to be doing and to be successful in. So it's going to be a case study that we did last year for a client, sharing our experience.
Love it. And so what's the common myth or misconception that people have of how you do this?
The common myth, I think, is that with a lot of customization will give us a lot of value. I think that's the first myth, which at first you think, okay, if we have all these modules and we have all of these widgets and all of these different things, and it's going to have more value. We're going to be able to sell it easier because clients are going to say, we're paying X for all of this. That's great. But in the UX part of the story, things get very complicated and you need to design this system where it still has to have a good user experience, even if you turn off and remove some of the components. So basically you're designing a car that needs to be able to work if you remove certain components and you're not really sure what components the next client is going to want to remove, So that's, you're thinking we have a lot, but that variability is the challenge that produces a problem.
Okay. And so what do people think is the solution that doesn't actually work?
We haven't really come upon a situation where somebody is solving it. They're not solving it at all. They're just building. They're building and building and building and adding and trying to kind of customize the demo. So when you have a white label app and you want to sell it for certain industries, the first thing you do is you create a demo for that scenario, and then you use that demo to try and sell. And you're hoping the client will recognize this and resonate with this experience. And this is the only thing that people are doing, which is not bad, but challenges are still here, and it's often things fail and they're not really sure why they failed. And so this is where we try to help.
Interesting. I have to admit, I assumed that the assumption that people would have for a solution was all we have to do is give them the ability to set some colors and add their logo. That's white label enough, and that's all good. And everything else would just work.
This is the first level, First level is visual customization, and this has certain challenges, but it's not at all the worst part, because you just need to make sure that you don't give the white label client the ability to create situations where there's no contrast. You cannot read maybe white text on yellow background or something crazy like that, and it's not usable because they went crazy with the color customization. So this is actually pretty common and solvable. You give them swatches, you give them some limits, you do some math on the color, because a contrast can be calculated with using a math. So you can control that pretty well. But what is a challenge is if, for example, some client needs a more complex permission system and somebody doesn't need it. So you remove it, and then how do things work when there is not a permission system, and how do things work when there is? Maybe some clients need gamification, so you turn it on. So what happens? How does this influence all the other modules? So more like functional, like feature flags, what you would probably call feature flags. Somebody's paying for a gamification. Let's, turn on the gamification flag, and then they get all these features. But how do things interact, and how does this influence other modules? And so this is like a whole matrix of possibilities that we need to design for, and it needs to be usable.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key thing I'm hearing is surface level white labeling of colors and a logo just isn't going to cut it if you want a great user experience and give them the flexibility in terms of anything functional.
Absolutely. I mean, visual is just, you can white label your t-shirt by just removing that white square, and you can put my logo there, and, it's done. That's the white label t-shirt. That's what printing, close printing companies do. They have a bunch of t-shirts, a white label product, and you stick your logo on them. You choose you want a black one or a red one, and that's done. But here we're talking about a lot more complexity.
So why are you credible to answer this question in this space?
Well, we do a lot. Like I said, that's the vision. That was the strategy from day one when I started my business. My agency is to have this specialized niche and not to be like a one-stop shop, and to focus all of our expertise building, because the kind of projects that you do, this is the experience, and you build those muscles. So if you're doing a lot of marketing websites, you're gonna have to be good, and probably be good in those. But we try to keep about 80 to 85% of our projects in the professional space, complexity, charts, dashboards. And then, I like to say that we're a lot more efficient than the average agency in these kinds of challenges. And then when you put white label on that, we're not, experts in designing white label software. Of course, we had a few projects in these few years, but this is why this talk that I'm doing is, exclusive. We never talked about this before, but we recognize that we're doing some things pretty well, and we have some good results, and figuring some stuff out. So I think it will be very, very insightful for product owners, product managers to maybe pick up something that they can use in their cases.
I mean, I can already imagine how I'm going to be taking some of those ideas and taking them to talk to some of my colleagues who've got products I think should be using a white labeling approach in some contexts. They're not today. So yeah, super interesting. Now, so if someone applies the ideas you're going to bring forwards in the talk well, what changes?
The most important KPI is that you successfully sell your white label software to a vendor that wants to customize it and distribute it. So that's the ultimate goal, right? We want to design the sales experience, the demo experience for an interested prospect, so that they open the app or log in into the demo experience. They can see something that resonates with them. They can recognize, because they're not ultimately probably going to be using this. They're just evaluating it for purchase, right? They're some kind of decision maker, and they're not the user of the app. They just need to make the purchasing decision. So this is completely new, philosophy, completely new user, new mental model. So we focus on designing this sales experience, not so much of the app. We do that as well, but that's not the focus of the talk. The focus is selling with UX, right? Using UX to empower your sales, which is the last thing I thought I would be talking about, because I never wanted to be a sales guy. And I always thought kind of sales was this evil thing when you're trying to sell something that somebody doesn't need, but you're, like a used car salesman. But here we are. We're talking about some interesting stuff that we had success with.
Well, I guess the key is you're selling something that's going to help them be more successful, and then you can believe in it, and then it's valuable, right?
Absolutely. You believe in it. You're kind of excited about the product. You have a good presentation. You pinpoint their pain points in the demo, and then it's just a matter of locking in the deal and adding a logo, changing the primary color, and then you're good to go.
So where and when can people catch your session?
This year, exclusively, first time ever, the talk will be as a part of the Product World Conference in Opatia, and it's going to be on day 2 of the 2-day conference, 11:30 a.m. Just before the lunch on May 6th. So hopefully we'll have some very nice weather, and we'll have a very nice environment to talk about these things.
I'm looking forward to hearing it. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person and being part of the whole session, a whole event, and kind of helping bridge your talks and the other talks all together.
Absolutely excited to see how you design this storytelling between the lectures. That's going to be interesting.
Gordon, thanks very much. I'll see you in Opatia and see you lot out there as well.
Thanks a lot, Phil. Nice to meet you. See you soon.